Welcome to PagerDuty Summit 2020. It's exciting to bring together practitioners, developers, leaders, and executives we can collaborate with and learn from today, with more than 10,000 people from the PagerDuty community joining us from over 100 countries, including the UK, Japan, Germany, Canada, and the US. I'm thrilled to be here with you, although I miss hanging out in person and hope we can be together safely one day soon. It's almost cliche to say these are unprecedented times, but there is no better way to describe our current environment, underpinned by an ongoing global pandemic, economic uncertainty, and racial reckoning. I want to acknowledge that each person experiences these challenges differently, and that our hearts go out to those of you impacted by illness, business upheaval, fear, loss, and fatigue. I hope you'll find compassion, camaraderie, and inspiration in the coming days with us at Summit. I personally have been inspired by many of you, having seen you pivot, innovate, and accelerate your products and initiatives over the last several months. It's a brilliant reminder that in a crisis, we can find our greatest opportunities. At the risk of stating the obvious, the world has fundamentally shifted to digital as the default operating model. Even before the pandemic, 92% of companies said they needed to change their business models to digital. Now, we live, learn, and work primarily online. And in the last 3 months, we've seen more e-commerce than we did in the last 10 years, with most of our shopping, food delivery, and entertainment online as well. The boundaries are blurred. Are we working from home or living at work? Our customer and partner Zoom saw more than a 450% user increase this year as the world zoomed into work and school. With the whole world online all the time, it's time itself that has become incredibly fleeting and valuable. The cost of a minute of imperfection is higher than ever, so digital services and the teams that run them, like you, are now essential. Ops teams have transitioned from a supporting role to a leading role, central to your businesses. You are the digital front line, the critical teams working an extra 10 to 15 hours a week, making personal sacrifices to make sure everything just works. We see you, and we appreciate all that you are doing to keep this weird new world always on. It's time for digital operations management. We've seen a shift from the tidy, predictable, calendared way we used to work to a more chaotic and spontaneous model where an increasing mix of our work is unpredictable, emergent, and mission critical. COVID only accelerated this shift, our real-time reality, where it's now obvious that ticketing systems, traditional command and control, ITIL workflows, and manual efforts can't service the velocity and immediacy customers require. While it's unclear when we might return to a physically connected world, it's crystal clear that the future of life is online, the future of work is real-time, and the future of teams is distributed, and the new operating system is digital. It's time that matters. There's no time to file a ticket that will sit in a queue for hours or even days in a world where currency moves in microseconds. When you don't get it right, despite taking years to build, trust is destroyed, potentially for good. The stakes are much, much higher now. Since the majority of business happens online, the cost of a minute disrupted just multiplied by 4 to 5 times. If a minute of failure cost you $100,000 last year, this year it will cost you $500,000. The degree of difficulty went up too, like we passed a level in the game of e-commerce. As the whole world logged on in March, incidents increased nearly 40% on average, and up to 5,000% or 50 times for some of our customers, all in the midst of an increasingly difficult work environment. Sure, developer productivity is up, but so is developer fatigue. Yet the digital frontline on PagerDuty is resolving incidents 20% faster than last year, and more teams are relying on us. A third of our enterprise and mid-market customers expanded with us in each of the last 6 quarters. Brett Taylor, president and COO of Salesforce and former CTO of Facebook, is here today to talk about customer trust. PagerDuty's platform has performed under unprecedented pressure and volume, helping you operationalize trust with your customers while enabling teams to successfully address 2 competing imperatives: accelerating digital transformation and reducing costs. Digital transformation, cloud adoption, and DevSecOps are among the most popular use cases for PagerDuty, and each trend has accelerated. Andy Jassy, the CEO of Amazon Web Services, will be with me later today to discuss the power of the cloud and how PagerDuty and AWS can help you accelerate your business. It's time to get your digital operations tuned for this new reality. Like many of you, I've really missed live sports, and I was excited to see a few college teams on the football field last weekend. I have a friend that knows a lot about streaming live sports, like the Super Bowl, FIFA Soccer World Cup, and the National Rugby League Grand Final. Let's welcome Paul Cheeseborough, CTO and President of Digital at Fox, to share how he and his team are serving expansive growth in real-time streaming with PagerDuty as the backbone of their modern operations.
Hi, I'm Paul Cheeseborough. I'm the CTO and President of Digital at Fox Corporation. Our business is media and the business of producing content. And our industry is going through massive disruption and change, like many other industries that you'll know about. Streaming is at the center of this disruption, and our business now is much more direct to consumer than ever before. And for this, it creates a lot of internal changes and challenges that we've got to be adaptive and agile in dealing with. And technology is at the center of that. Historically, our consumer teams and our enterprise teams have been run very, very separately. But at Fox, we've brought those together, and not just the teams and the processes, but also our technology partners. And PagerDuty has been instrumental in underpinning consistent processes around not just alerting, but automation and operations across the piece. The biggest thing we're doing together is a new technology center in Phoenix, Arizona, which goes live in February 2021. That will be the center of our operational framework for the entire business. And PagerDuty is an integral partner. On behalf of Fox, I'd like to say thank you to Jen and the team at PagerDuty for really pushing the boundaries in the technology we're deploying there and being a really instrumental partner in driving change and building the future for our business. So we look forward to working with you again in the future and appreciate the partnership. Thank you.
It's an honor to partner with Paul and his team at Fox, and a privilege to support more than 500,000 people from over 13,000 companies that are essential to all of us, including nearly 60 of the Fortune 100, and companies like AT&T, Lowe's, Salesforce, New York Times, Twilio, DoorDash, Lockheed, Peloton, Vodafone, and REA Group. Most of you have put PagerDuty in the center of your digital ecosystem, integrated to millions of services, leveraging over 370 integrations and our API to build your own. Thank you for placing your trust in us. Today, we've unveiled powerful new capabilities in our digital operations management platform that build on our strengths, our position at the heart of the modern digital ecosystem, and the most reliable, resilient, enterprise-grade incident response offering available in the market. With a return on investment of up to 730% under 4 months, we have a track record in helping the world's most recognized companies progress their operations from reactive to proactive. With our latest release, PagerDuty helps you thrive in 3 important ways. First, PagerDuty frees users from complexity. Technology is proliferating faster than ever, with trends like cloud adoption, distributed architecture, and open source come enormous complexity that's impossible for humans to manage manually. Freedom from complexity shifts your focus from reactive, manual troubleshooting to innovation that's essential for your and your company's success. Our latest AI Ops release in Event Intelligence breaks down complexity, reducing interruptions and minimizing the time needed to resolve issues. Industry analysts note that at least 80% of problems usually result from deployed changes in a service. To address this, we've added change awareness to link changes in your software deployment pipeline with outages to quickly action the root cause and resolve problems faster. PagerDuty's Event Intelligence can now dynamically identify dependencies between people, changes, incidents, and services in real time. And our machine learning will automatically keep your service directory up to date, prevent redundant, counterproductive work between teams, and surface recommendations for management and automation of incidents, all without needing to follow manual steps or learn advanced skills. We believe automation and auto-remediation are mission critical to your ability to efficiently scale incident response to meet the demands of our always-on world. Today, I am thrilled to announce that we've entered into a definitive agreement to acquire Rundeck, a leading provider of runbook automation for DevOps. We are globally recognized as the leader in real-time incident response for uniquely automating and orchestrating people workflows. Rundeck enables us to combine enterprise-grade machine automation and workflows with our responder and team orchestration to automate the entire response, including recovery. It's a natural yet powerful extension to what we already do well. More specifically, Rundeck's runbook automation for DevOps empowers you and your teams to automate detection, diagnosing, and resolving issues as much as 50% faster. This acquisition builds on our existing partnership and integration currently available in the market. Rundeck has a growing enterprise customer base and a meaningful and active open source community that complements PagerDuty's strong developer community. A big thank you to Rundeck's founders, Alex, Damon, and Greg, for putting your trust in us. You can expect great things to come from Rundeck and PagerDuty in the coming months. The real value of all this intelligence and automation is that it frees you up to innovate and build, to seize your advantage, whether that's scaling key initiatives with limited resources or accelerating change across your business. Dia Jolly, Chief Product Officer of Okta, is a progressive product leader who embraces service ownership and has been kind enough to share how her team is scaling to meet strong demand, using PagerDuty to ensure reliability. Here's Dia.
Hi, everyone. My name is Dia Jolly, and I'm the Chief Product Officer at Okta. At Okta, our vision is to allow any company to use any technology. As Okta's Chief Product Officer, my role is to continue to innovate on the Okta Identity Platform to be able to fulfill that mission. Driven by changing macro factors like cloud adoption, hybrid infrastructure, digital transformation, and security, Okta has become the linchpin of the new cloud technology stack over the last 10 years. And as we all know, COVID-19 has led to these trends being accelerated even further. With more people working from home, we saw unique app logins go up by 70% to 16 billion. Our customers need Okta's support now more than ever before, and we need to be there for them by scaling to support this type of rapid user adoption and accelerating innovation as the way we work evolves. At Okta, reliability is key to our business. Our customers trust us with their identity and the identity of their customers, and maintaining secure access can be the difference between success and failure. Now more than ever before, it's important to maintain business continuity and data security with Okta. PagerDuty helps us not only maintain, but accelerate our ability to deliver fast, reliable, and secure service. PagerDuty is key to helping us service our customers so that they can continue to run their business from anywhere and delight their customers as their teams work from anywhere. At Okta, we believe that our identity platform needs to be always on for our customers. So we have built-in processes to ensure the reliability and scalability of our platform. PagerDuty plays a critical role in helping us deliver that for our customers.
For cloud-native companies like Okta, embracing machine learning and automation is a natural evolution. For transforming companies, machine learning and automation can accelerate digital initiatives at a lower cost with significantly less risk. Take one of our largest global investment banking customers who used PagerDuty to cut incident resolution time by over 30%. A new consumer offering was a strategic imperative in their digital transformation. Their teams initially struggled to cope with the escalating volume of new incidents, which threatened the customer experience. Through machine learning and automation, PagerDuty has reduced incidents by an additional 65%. That's 2/3 of the bank's limited resources returned to innovation. Whether you are a digital native or a digital transformer, our platform turbocharges the benefits of service ownership, a build it, run it model, freeing developers from complexity in service of innovation with PagerDuty as the operations foundation for the new digital default world. Jeffrey Moore was kind enough to spend some time with our executive advisory board last week, and we discussed how innovation has shifted to serve people versus systems. When time matters, you can't rely on manual processes, on centralized command and control network ops, and tribal knowledge to get the right teams engaged and action underway. Orchestrating teams, my second area of focus today, got even harder when we were all sent home to work. With most businesses now highly dependent on digital services, teams across the globe need to engage quickly and work in concert to solve problems when seconds matter. As dependency on technology grows, the number of people involved in digital ops only increases. So today, I'm excited to share new integrations to more quickly orchestrate work across distributed, cross-functional teams automatically. These integrations with collaboration leaders Zoom, Slack, and Microsoft Teams are industry firsts, launching video war rooms at the press of a button and offering complete bidirectional control, delivering the power of our best-in-class platform and incident response process into the collaboration platform of your choice. The future of work is dynamic, and users expect platforms they rely on to work seamlessly together. For incident response in a distributed world, this is critical path. We've also increased the scale of our stakeholder notifications into the tens of thousands, which ensures all of your stakeholders stay informed during major outages. No one else comes close to this level of scalability. Later, you'll hear from Jeff Tepper, Corporate Vice President at Microsoft, who will tell you more about the essential role of these integrations, and from Eric Yuan, founder and CEO of Zoom, along with Stuart Butterfield, Adam Lashinsky, and me to discuss the future of work. If that wasn't already pretty awesome, I'm excited for you to hear from my friend and incredible innovator and leader, Colonel Nicole Malachowski, the U.S. Air Force's first woman Thunderbird pilot and combat veteran. As a fighter squadron commander, the colonel is an expert on incident command under pressure and the importance of teamwork and trust when lives and freedom are at stake. Incident response is a team sport, and one of the most critical collaborations in delivering delightful customer experiences is the connection between engineering, IT, security, and customer service, where trust is crucial. While customers demand immediacy, cross-functional teams are hampered by disparate systems, cultures, and methodologies. When digital products such as Electronic Arts' Mass Effect 2 game, Netflix, Spotify, or Nordstrom's app don't perform perfectly, customer service teams are on the front line, protecting brands and revenue. In fact, 50% of the time, it's the customer who discovers a problem, alerting a support team, who then notifies developers. This is manual, time-consuming, siloed, and missing context, leading to damage to the brand, customer relationship, and business outcomes. Today, we're extending the power of our platform to those on the front line serving customers by announcing our first digital operations solution designed specifically for customer service teams. It includes the latest new integrations with Zendesk, Salesforce, and Zoom, Slack, and Microsoft Teams. PagerDuty for customer service helps teams in these areas. First, it automates the transition for agents from being on duty to going on call, which can reduce the need for staffing off-hour shifts. Second, it supports a proactive shift, enabling teams to get ahead of issues by collaborating directly with development and IT teams when incidents are happening. Finally, PagerDuty empowers agents to automate the process to resolve open cases faster. Our platform also keeps agents informed up to the minute, enabling them to support customers with more certainty and ultimately improve the customer experience. The third and final set of new innovations we'll overview this week is focused on increasing your return on investment with PagerDuty through improving the maturity, efficiency, and effectiveness of your digital operations with both real-time predictive analytics and performance-based historical insights. Our platform benefits customers no matter where you are in your journey, with insights validating that companies with mature operations, meaning they are more proactive and predictive, are more cost-efficient and generally get better business results. Incidents are now increasingly visible to leadership, to the market, and to customers. The acceleration we've seen in the last 5 months strains even the most advanced teams and risks impacting customers and blowing out costs at a time when most organizations are trying to reduce expense. Our analytics release today includes a new recommendation engine to improve your team health and further reduce noise. Our in-product maturity model will guide teams with recommendations and services focused on estimated quantifiable improvements and the specific actions to take in order to achieve them. That's immediate ROI that no other product in the market offers, as it leverages machine learning, our proprietary data set, and your operational data to help you lower costs while delivering better business outcomes. Whether you're a startup that's building for scale or a large enterprise adopting the cloud, now is the time to ensure you have the digital operations platform you need for the journey ahead. Your customers demand it, your teams need it, and your business relies on it. PagerDuty is essential infrastructure for the modern digital business. All of this innovation should free us up to drive change together on many fronts. It's time to modernize operations to support digital business. It's time to automate in service of customers and people, because it's time, after all, that matters. Time is money. It's also time to demonstrate leadership in our communities by activating change for a more just and equitable world. At PagerDuty.org, we've extended our commitment to time-critical global health with grants to 3 organizations: International Medical Corps, NextLeaf Analytics, and Trek Medics International, selected from nearly 100 incredible submissions. To drive sustainable change, every voice must be heard. Our immediate investments in voter engagement via new partnerships with the NAACP, Democracy Works, Election Protection, and When We All Vote work to ensure everyone can vote in every election, regardless of neighborhood, ethnicity, mobility, or age. PagerDuty also gives our employees paid time off to vote and to volunteer at the polls. Later today, you'll meet Derek Johnson, President and CEO of the NAACP, and learn about how you can help with this important work. Expedient change requires leadership and experience, so I'm delighted to announce that Ebony Beckwith, Chief Philanthropy Officer of Salesforce and CEO of Salesforce Foundation, has joined the PagerDuty.org advisory board, bringing immense experience to help us scale our impact. Ebony is here to share why this work is so important.
Hello, everyone. I'm Ebony Beckwith, Chief Philanthropy Officer at Salesforce, and I am so excited to be part of the PagerDuty Summit. I chose to join the PagerDuty.org advisory board because of the incredible leadership and vision of Jen Tejada and the work of her incredible leadership team. In fact, after my first meeting with Jen, I immediately said, I am all in. This is a CEO I believe in, a product I believe in, and most importantly, a culture that aspires to do great things. So this advisory board, to me, represents a new way to accelerate and amplify the impact of PagerDuty.org. And I'm excited to work alongside this passionate group of people to continue building the program and scaling it into an incredible platform for change. And there has never been a more important time to do this work. As we continue to watch crises collide, it becomes more and more clear that the solution isn't going to come from any one person, one business, or government. We have an incredible opportunity for action, but we have to act together. Equality is one of our core values at Salesforce, and we are doubling down on it. We've made commitments to take action against racial injustice in 4 core areas of our business, which are people, philanthropy, purchasing, and policy. And we've made these commitments public to keep ourselves accountable. And I share this with you, not to suggest that we have it all figured out, but to encourage and inspire you to get involved, because it's going to take all of us working together to shape an inclusive next normal where everyone can thrive. And I know we can do it. Thank you so much and enjoy the summit.
It's past time to build a more diverse, equitable industry. We need to move faster. Last week, we open sourced our diversity data to provide transparency, create accountability, and demonstrate that building a balanced, equitable enterprise is a critical business imperative. While I'm proud of the progress that we have made with a balanced leadership team and board, we can do better, and we have committed to improving Black representation on our board and our leadership team. I urge each of you to lead from every role and commit to improving access to careers and representation in your companies so we all reflect the richly diverse communities we serve. It's time. Trust is the most valuable currency in our ever-evolving world. The platforms that came before were not built for the unpredictable, spontaneous digital world we find ourselves in. PagerDuty operationalizes trust for you and for your customers. It's time to adopt a proactive stance to build dynamic, modern, reliable, and coordinated operations to support your evolving business and, most importantly, for your customers. It's time to open yourself up and your company up to all of the opportunities this unique time in our history offers us. I urge you to make the most of this week, to virtually network with other attendees, to ask Dutonians about their experience, and to learn as much as you can about advancing your digital operations. Most of all, thank you for your trust in PagerDuty. We take this responsibility to heart, and we work every day to ensure you are successful. Thank you for joining me today, and have a great week at Summit. Hi, everyone, and welcome to PagerDuty Summit 2020. We're thrilled to have you all here with us today, and I'm sorry that we can't be together in person. My next guest is an incredible friend, mentor, and partner, Brett Taylor, the President and Chief Operating Officer of Salesforce. At Salesforce, Brett leads all of their global product vision, engineering, marketing, communications, and security. A pretty big job. Brett, we are thrilled to have you with us today.
Thanks for having me, Jennifer. Really happy to be here, and it could not be a more relevant time to talk about PagerDuty. I mean, with the whole world having gone digital seemingly overnight, so just a pleasure to be here.
And I remember the last time we spoke was at PagerDuty's company kickoff in very early March, and Salesforce had taken what I thought was a visionary step to close their physical locations down early. You zoomed in for that discussion. Tell me, as you've adjusted to this new reality that we're in, what's changed for you? What's different? And how are you and the leadership team at Salesforce adjusting and driving into this new world?
I think that's about 5 months or so. It feels like 5 years.
100 years.
This year has been crazy. I feel like there's been more change in society and technology over the past 5 months than there has been in the past 5 years. Our employee experience, our customer experience, our partner experience, it's put a lot of pressure on IT departments, and it's put a lot of pressure on just all the software systems we use to run our lives, whether it's my kids going to school via Zoom or onboarding new employees. I mean, every single aspect of my life has changed. Across our entire business, we've had to transform. And I'm just grateful that, here at Salesforce, we have kind of a philosophy of a beginner's mind. We've been willing to reinvent ourselves.
Yeah, I can't agree with you more. And I sit on the board of Estee Lauder, who are also a PagerDuty customer. And, we've experienced the exact same thing, that there's been a compulsory requirement to accelerate every digital initiative to meet the needs of consumers that are not going to walk into a brick and mortar store. It's been a very steep learning curve and an incredibly stressful time, but I've been inspired by the many leadership teams that we work with and how quickly they've pivoted. I think your point on having a beginner's mind and sort of looking at this through a fresh lens gives leadership teams the opportunity to sort of leverage the change that's in front of them to maybe do some things within their organizations that they either didn't think were possible or that they thought were going to take several years or several months. And frankly, I think if you're not open to that immediate, compulsory, ongoing, constant change, you're going to be left behind in this environment. And that's one of the big challenges. Another leadership challenge that I've experienced is, you mentioned we're 5 months into this. I see the fatigue that teams are experiencing because as we've moved to digital, while in some cases that's created conveniences for consumers, it's massively increased the complexity that our technology teams face. Given that you are a renowned technology leader, how do you see tech teams, engineering teams, software leaders, and software developers having to adjust to this environment?
It's a great question. The first thing that I've really observed is conversations like this that I really look forward to, which is I think we need to really share notes as a community because we're in this, completely new world of distributed work, which means the software we're building is more important than ever, but also the way we're working together has really fundamentally shifted. And then when you look at all the, DevOps, tech ops, space where PagerDuty really shines, it's really recognizing that people's personal lives are different now. How do you do that rotation? How do you sort of all show up as a team and recognize that, at 3 p.m. when you normally be at work, you might be helping your kid with school right now. And, we just need to completely transform the way we think about teamwork, the way we think about, how candidly mission critical the technology we're working on is right now. And make sure that we're transforming the way we work together as teams to recognize this new way of working.
I think that is a net positive that will come out of all of this. You also talked about mission-driven work that really matters. And one of the things that I've seen at PagerDuty is a rapid acceleration in the shift from structured and planned work to unstructured, unplanned, emergent work. And that's what PagerDuty was born to do. We detect unplanned, emergent, important, mission-critical work. We route it to the right people. We automate more and more of their response, giving them the right insights and information to get that work done. And then we help them learn from it institutionally in our platform after every incident or opportunity is deployed on that platform. I think automation and machine learning can be super helpful in, again, getting through some of the toil and the more inane work so that people can be focused on doing things that inspire them. How is Salesforce thinking about machine learning and automation, given you're seeing the world through a beginner's lens?
Yeah, that's a great question. Broadly, I think we're still in the early stages of how much automation is going to impact every single industry and all of our jobs. Just because, as you said, there's so much digitized right now. So there's, we have this term, particularly in our customer service business, we call it swivel chair integration. And how much of our day is copying and pasting things between apps and doing things that candidly, if our software worked better together, would be automated. And I think over time it will be. But I think it sort of begs the question, which is like, how does that impact all of us as individuals sort of in the face of that automation? And so I think broadly, I think automation is an incredible opportunity to help us work on what's actually important, what our jobs should be, rather than the mundane and repetitive parts of it. The companies that are going to succeed are going to embrace that philosophy of lifelong learning, of reskilling, and really kind of help transform individuals as they transform their companies.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. And Salesforce has set such a great example in terms of your vision around learning and the way you've executed with Trailhead in particular. And we've taken a note or a page out of your book at this summit. For the first time ever, we're offering our Incident Commander training for free, as well as PagerDuty University. We've decided to really kind of open source that education and those learning opportunities to help our customers meet the requirements of this new pace of digital acceleration that we're all in.
I've been always inspired by PagerDuty's leadership here, but these are areas that are going to have so many opportunities, right? As so much of the world becomes software, the opportunities, for people coming from outside of technology to become experts in technology and grow their careers is so great. So what an amazing opportunity to help onboard people into all the opportunities being created in software. So that's an amazing vision.
I want to switch gears a little because you and I have talked about this before, but when all of your employees go home, when the whole world is living from their houses and experiencing everything from healthcare to consumer services to work and education in their living rooms and basements, and I've seen garages, backyards, etc., trust becomes incredibly important. And I know we both run value-driven companies and see trust as an incredible foundation in everything we do. What are your thoughts on the role that trust plays now compared to the world we lived in before? And how do you all think about it as a leadership team at Salesforce?
We at Salesforce, we have 4 key values: trust, customer success, innovation, and equality, in that order. And we talk a lot about trust as our #1 value. And I think right now, whether it's privacy, whether it's the availability of a service that you depend on now more than ever before, or whether it's just the trust that you have with your customers, whether those are internal customers or external customers, you know, we think that when you think about your relationship with software, trust is actually the dominant, value that you use to determine whether you're going to use something, whether you're going to renew your relationship with a vendor that you use, and also whether you choose to depend on that piece of software to get your job done. It's all based on that concept of trust. And it's something that, when we met, and I've been a customer of PagerDuty in my startup, and we're a customer at Salesforce, I just think about it as almost operationalizing trust. That concept of service ownership is really about accountability. And it's really saying that, can we build a culture that really means that we're going to make sure that this service is available to all of its customers, internal or external. And I think nowadays it's interesting we've had power outages, and if you've ever had your internet fail, like, we're experiencing what it means from a technology perspective, what trust means right now, because now when it's not there, you can't get your job done.
It's really hard to build any other value in any type of relationship. The Salesforce relationship has been very important to PagerDuty. The partnership from a customer perspective, we rely on Salesforce in managing our go-to-market engine, and we have a pretty unique go-to-market environment. We have both a frictionless self-service e-commerce motion, which is how most of our customers land in the PagerDuty platform. And then we have a direct sales organization and a channel organization that's growing, that all rely on Salesforce to coordinate and manage the sort of mission critical customer information. Customer success is increasingly becoming a much more important part of what we do. And Salesforce has been foundational in that. As partners, I think we're starting to embark on some really exciting opportunities around 360 and work.com. And I wanted to start by talking a little bit about customer support, because we saw about a year and a half ago, customer support teams were just starting to use PagerDuty frequently to, one, understand what was happening during an incident so that they could provide better information and service to their customers, and two, actually raise the alarm bells if they were seeing early signs of an issue from a customer support perspective, or customers coming in and letting them know that something was happening. When something goes wrong in a customer journey, the experience can cause a customer to leave. So I guess my question for you, Brett, is how do you think about the future of our partnership, and how can PagerDuty be helpful in 360 and in work.com as we start to build around both the customer support use case, but also more broadly in bringing our platforms together to make things just work for the different teams and the use cases that they have for what we think of as real-time work or digital operations?
I think it's a tremendous opportunity. I mean, as you said, our vision is, we call it Customer 360 across sales, customer service, marketing, e-commerce, and all the custom applications that you build. How can you create a really seamless customer experience, have that kind of single source of truth? So, like, whether it's a digital customer interaction or in person, it's a great experience. But when I look at the opportunity for, our Service Cloud and PagerDuty and that entire vision of Customer 360, it's really going from reactive to proactive. How do you bring together the, DevOps, the technical teams, or the customer success teams, and the customer service teams, so that in real time, you're proactively addressing the impact of any incident with your customers. Given all the amazing technologies we have, you shouldn't wait for your customers to tell you something is down. That's not acceptable anymore.
They don't call you anymore, they just tweet at you.
Yeah. Oh, yes. If it's on Twitter before you've got some problems. But here's the thing: it's also a team sport, right? Because it's not just a technical problem, right? It's a customer success problem. It might be a sales problem. And when I really think about what does an incident mean, really it's saying, how do you orchestrate the full power of your company to respond? And I think that's really where the power of Salesforce and PagerDuty coming together can really shine, because it means you're bringing every department, every customer-facing group, every technical group together to really say, okay, let's turn lemons into lemonade. Let's make sure that we're getting ahead of this with our customers. And I think it's a tremendous opportunity. I actually think the companies that are the most proactive in their mindset around customer service are the ones that end up creating that brand loyalty.
It's a lot of fun collaborating with you all. And we've seen real success on the back of the announcement we made just a year ago at Summit around a new Salesforce and PagerDuty integration. And we're excited to share more about what we're doing there in the future. We could probably spend the next 5 hours talking. I want to be really thoughtful about your time. But you're so purposeful and mission driven. And I think it would be inspiring for our audience to hear, what drives you? What gets you excited in the morning? And as your career has evolved from, building prod yourself to leading one of the largest technology organizations in the world, what's changed for you?
What gets me out of the bed in the morning is really having a really complete view of all the stakeholders of our business. But how can we broaden access to the opportunities of that technology? Whether it's geographically, whether it's people from different backgrounds, whether it's the representation of underrepresented groups in the technology industry, which is not at all where it needs to be. And I think what gets me out of bed in the morning is saying, can we have that kind of impact, but do it the right way? And it's why I feel so aligned with PagerDuty, and something that right now is probably being values driven is as important as the impact, and is something that has been really driving me, particularly over the past few years, where I think we've seen a lot of the opportunities in that area in technology.
Yeah, it's an incredibly thoughtful response, and it's just incredible to spend time with you. I just really appreciate you always making the time for us and sharing candidly your thoughts about where the world has gone and what we're doing about it, and frankly, what we need to do about it. Because when it comes to equality and creating equal opportunity for everyone, we have a lot of work to do. I think, as much as I'm very proud of the effort that PagerDuty's made and some of the results that we've been able to achieve in terms of balanced leadership and a balanced board and representation within our business, we still have a tremendous amount of work to do. And we're going to continue to hold ourselves accountable to that, because that's part of building trust. And trust is a lifelong relationship. You spend years and years building it, you can destroy it in seconds. And while that's a big part of our value proposition as a company, from a leadership values perspective, it's also very important to me as a human being that when we all look back at the time that we spent leading tech companies and frankly just leading companies in the world, that we left the world in a better position than it was in when we started. I just want to say thank you for your partnership and helping us to try and make a bigger dent than we've been able to make in the past.
I appreciate it. I genuinely believe that business can be the greatest platform for change in the world. So it's a pleasure to be a partner and a customer.
Well, we're certainly seeing that today. Look, Brett, thank you so much for your time. All the best getting your 3 kids back and organized in Zoom school as it is. Eric Yon and Stuart Butterfield are going to be joining us later today to talk about the future of work. And I'm sure we'll be talking a little bit about online education and what that's meant for Eric and his team. But thank you so much to you and to the rest of the Salesforce team for spending your time with us today.
My pleasure, and thank Eric on behalf of my 3 kids.
I shall. I absolutely shall. Have a great one, Brett. I'm thrilled to introduce my next guest at PagerDuty Summit 2020. This person is a phenomenal leader, a fantastic partner, and someone I call a friend, Andy Jassy, the CEO of AWS, or Amazon Web Services, as we all know it. Andy joined Amazon in 1997 as a marketing leader. In 2003, he founded Amazon Web Services with a team of just 57 people. And in 2016, Andy became the CEO of what we know is the very successful AWS that many of us have built our businesses and our products on. So Andy, thank you so much for being here. I'm thrilled to catch up, and I'm just sorry we can't do it in person. I miss our lunches.
Me too. And thank you for having me, Jen. I appreciate it. It's great to be here with you.
We are in some unprecedented times, and as much as I'm almost sick of talking about it, I think there's a lot to be learned over the period that we're in. And there has been quite a bit of innovation and change at scale. What have you learned in the last 6 months?
I think that we were really worried about going to a virtual only environment and working from home. But I think that while it's not as good as being in person, it's pretty close. And it's a lot closer than I think any of us imagined. I think also we have traditionally hired people where we have critical mass of people because we just think it's easier for them to collaborate and easier for them to have a career development path. But I think that the pandemic and the way that we've worked well remotely has made us much more open to hiring more people in kind of one-off locations if they have the right disposition to work collaboratively with people in the hours that they need to. So I think there are a bunch of things like that that make it easier for us to think about a world where we have people in more locations than we do now.
Totally. So much of that resonates with me. I miss that collective energy of building things together. I have found some of the most engaging meetings that I've been in where you feel a little bit of that electricity again when we've been doing executive briefings with customers and we're all collaborating and we're sharing their problems and thinking through how our solutions can be helpful. And I know that customer obsession is a leadership principle for you, and from what I know of you, basically a way of life. So I'd love to hear what are some of the important elements that have enabled you to sort of observe this market and respond to your customers' needs so quickly, because it's just been admirable watching you scale and your teams innovate. And we certainly appreciate our partnership. But what is it about customer obsession that enables you to respond and move the teams quickly against those needs?
Well, I think that a lot of it has to do with our culture. Our culture is customer focused. Everything we do is driven by what we either hear from customers that they care about or trying to read between the lines and try to invent on their behalf. And it was no different in COVID. So, really, if you the first thing customers said to us was, we need continuity. I mean, we're all moving home. We're not necessarily all set up to operate from home. And so a lot of what we spent the very earliest days of COVID thinking about how can we make sure that all of our AWS customers who need to operate their businesses or governments from home can do so without interruption. How do we make sure we have enough capacity? How do we make sure we manage the supply chain right? Then the next thing we heard from customers was, gosh, it is such a difficult time for us. How can we save money? And so we have spent a good part of the last 6 months doing everything we can in the field with our customers, trying to help them optimize their costs, even though it's something that probably hurts AWS's overall financial performance in the short term. There was never a question for us. We're gonna always do what's right for customers over a long period of time. One of the great things about the cloud is that when you need more capacity, you seamlessly scale up. But if you don't need it anymore, like when you're in a pandemic, you can just give it back and stop paying for it. So a lot of people were able to save money. Really, again, when you have a culture that is driven by, you have the right customer feedback loops to hear what customers care about, and then you have good ways to take that feedback and get them to the builders and the decision makers, and your customer focus like we are, you're going to always have ways to help customers in times of crisis, which is what we try to do like a lot of other people during these last 6 months.
Well, we have talked before about how well aligned our cultures are, and our number one value is champion the customer. And we saw very similar experience during COVID with customers like Zoom and Netflix and DoorDash and even Nordstrom or Twilio, who, to your point, were all scaling up to meet the needs of this new kind of unprecedented environment, but incidents were scaling with them. And we're really thrilled that the PagerDuty platform not only held up very well in an unprecedented amount of scale and events coming across our platform, but our customers actually improved their time to resolve incidents by more than 20%, despite the fact that incidents were up 40%. And when you see that, it makes you feel good about the innovation that you've built. And we're able to deliver the level of scalability and resilience and security at scale for our customers because, we're built in AWS. And I think because of the support and partnership we've had from your team. So we really appreciate that. The cloud has been such a powerful tool to help companies scale and frankly reinvent their business models. And one of the things I've certainly seen is companies that relied heavily on brick and mortar environments to deliver their product to customers, to do work, to engage with customers, became online companies almost overnight, even though they weren't really ready for it. And the cloud has been such a huge tool in empowering that acceleration and enabling that for customers. But it's also hard. Let's not be shy about it. It's a hard transition. What barriers do you see that keep organizations from moving their workloads to the cloud? And you've had so much experience across so many companies. How can companies accelerate their cloud adoption to meet these new needs of what we really think is a digital default world now?
I think that COVID has pushed many enterprises toward the cloud. And it kind of happens when you have anything discontinuous, like a pandemic. Companies tend to take a step back and think about what they want to change strategically.
Yep.
I think a lot of companies that have been talking about this for a while are actually really either have or are in the process of really building transformation plans. So it's kind of interesting. The medium to long term, I think COVID has pushed a lot of companies to accelerate their mass migration to the cloud from where it would have been. I just think that there was, in the early days, there was just a fear of the unknown. It was a different type of model. People wanted to see other companies use it successfully and the platform work successfully. And while that was probably the biggest blocker in the first 8 years, in the last 6 years, I would say it's been probably, at least as big a selling point for the cloud and AWS as anything else, which is most people who watch how the cloud and AWS have operated and who do a thorough study of what security looks like in the cloud come away understanding that they have a better security posture in AWS than they do on premises. People have been doing things a certain way for a long period of time. What enterprises are fighting is inertia, and people who sometimes are managing it and aren't as excited about making that change and leaning forward to make the change. And what we've seen as the biggest difference makers between those who really make progress making this transformation into this next generation of technology versus those that just talk a lot about it are a few things. I think that, several of them, most of them, frankly, are not technical. They're mostly leadership. So you need a leadership team that understands why you want to do it, wants to take that journey of learning and evolving the business, wants to take that journey of reinventing, and then gets the team aligned, because there are lots of places in the organization that can block if you don't have the entire team aligned. And then along with that, you need the right top-down aggressive goal that forces the org to move faster than it organically otherwise would. And you see that all the time. I have loads of examples of this, but I always think about, if you look at GE and Jamie Miller, if you know Jamie, who was the CIO at GE for a while, she saw what they had coming and knew that they needed to transform their technology. And she told her team that we're going to move 50 applications to AWS in 30 days. And she said for 45 minutes, all our leaders told her what a dumb idea that was. And that she just listened and said, okay, I heard you, but we are going to do it. So let's go. And they got to about 42 in 30 days. But what they learned in the process was their security model and their compliance model and how to operate in the cloud. And they got success and built momentum. And then suddenly the ideas were coming from everywhere, which allowed her to take the next top-down goal, which was to move 9,000 applications in a few years to AWS. But they wouldn't have gotten there if they didn't take that top-down goal that forced the org to move faster than it otherwise would. So, I think getting the right senior level alignment, having the right top-down goal that makes the org know that you mean business, and then I think you got to train people. A lot of times you have these senior level conversations and you decide, we're going to move, and then you come back to your company and says, good news, here's the cloud, and you haven't trained anybody. And it's not, it's not that hard. It's not brain surgery, but it's different. You got to make sure you invest in training people, which is why we train hundreds of thousands of people a year for, a lot of our customers and partners. And, and then I think you got to build a thoughtful, sequential migration plan. And one of the mistakes I see enterprises sometimes fall into is that if they can't figure out how they'll move every last workload, they can get paralyzed. And the reality is, when you do these portfolio analyses, which we do with our customers all the time, you can pretty easily classify workloads into ones that are easy to move, medium hard to move, the ones that should go last because they have the most dependencies and legacy, ones that you can easily lift and shift, and ones that you need to re-architect before you put in the cloud. And the reality is that you can move so many of these workloads and get all the benefits of the cloud if you actually don't make it wait until you've got every last workload worked out, and you get all those benefits quickly. And also, by running that first set of workloads, it informs a lot of the ways that you're going to try to move the most complicated workloads later. And so those are some of the things that we've seen that are big difference makers between those who really make progress moving to the cloud versus those who just talk about it.
Well, I've been known to say that the technology problems are easy, the people problems are hard, because I do think most people are change averse. It's human nature. And PagerDuty, one of our number one use cases is cloud adoption. And GE, as you mentioned, is a PagerDuty customer. And where I think PagerDuty has been able to partner with AWS's customers is to help them get to more of a proactive stance from an operations perspective, to build a DevOps culture that creates service ownership, that gets people ready to take on the challenges that come with cloud migration, be not only in the right mind and have the right culture and have the right systems to detect issues early so they don't become bigger business problems, means the whole migration goes smoother. And shifting to our partnership, what role is our partnership playing in helping your customers thrive? I certainly understand the benefits that we've had in learning from you at AWS. We've always participated in reInvent. Our teams have been very collaborative. And of course, we've built one of the most scalable and reliable platforms in the world on AWS. So we're a great demonstration of the platform itself. But tell me a little bit about how you think about partnership.
Well, I think we have, we have a partnership that goes back a while and that's been very close. I mean, I don't have to tell you that PagerDuty was built on top of AWS, and we have, we have a lot of joint customers. You talk about, how are you helping our customers? They're really our joint customers. And you look at companies like GE and Capital One and Electronic Arts and Cisco and Vanguard, who all use, our products in conjunction. And and we have very tight integration across our products. And to me, if you're a company that cares about availability, to have the ability to mitigate customer impacting issues proactively by automatically being able to turn signal into insight and action, which is really what PagerDuty does on top of AWS. If you care about availability and you're not interested in that, I would argue you don't care about availability. I mean, I think that I think this time that we've just gone through in the last 6 months, where everything was thrown up in the air and nobody really knew what was going to happen and how much your business was going to surge, or even in cases where your business was contracting, a lot of our very large customers who have struggled during the pandemic had huge volumes of people effectively calling with questions or canceling or trying to figure out how to reschedule what they were going to do. I mean, you had all kinds of uncertainty in situation that you hadn't encountered before. And availability at the end of the day, that is for a lot of us that have products that have a technical interface, which anybody who has any kind of technology application, the technology underpins it and is, a big part of the customer experience. If you don't have the right availability, you don't have a customer experience. And so to me, like, if you care about availability, if you care about continually improving what you're doing and changing that customer experience, if you're not using PagerDuty, I think you're missing the boat. And I think the partnership that we've built over the years has made it quite easy for our joint customers to be able to use our services in conjunction, and that matters a lot. Our customers tell it matters, and it matters to us too.
Absolutely. And when our customers are under stress, the last thing we want them to have to worry about is how to stitch two important solutions together. It has to just work, and it has to work really, really well. Andy, it is always such a pleasure to spend time with you. I always learn something, and we are very committed to our joint customers and to ensuring both your success, but importantly, that as customers adopt the cloud and they modernize their IT environments and they look to create wonderful, consistent digital experiences for their own customers, that we play a role in ensuring that as they shift from things being pretty structured and pretty predictable to a world that is a lot more unpredictable and spontaneous and yet time sensitive and emergent, that PagerDuty along with AWS can support them in being successful in that journey. So thank you so much for being with us today. I really, really appreciate it.
And thanks for having me, Jen. I always enjoy spending time with you. And as we've talked about, I think the partnership is really strong, and I continue to look forward to listen to what customers want us to do more of together and making that happen.